Hello, this is the Growth League podcast. My name is Caleb Clark, and my mission for this show is pretty simple. It's to learn from marketers on how they're playing the great game of marketing leadership, their ideas, experiences, perspective, wins and losses, and the playbook that they've established over time. Listen, there's more than one way to lead a marketing team and a marketing function. So if you're a VP, a CMO, director, or someone aspiring to fill one of these marketing leadership roles in the future, tune in to learn from some of the best in the business. Helping their dreams come true in some regard, right?
Right. And everyone thinks they're a marketing genius, which I never tell them they're not. But there are a lot of terms, acronyms, and other tools that they may not be aware of. So it's really cool to see what I've built for my company and seeing that in someone who may not have the same marketing brain as me and actually having them do it and become very successful.
Can you be honest and tell us what the most challenging part of your job is?
I feel like anybody in the marketing industry will say budget, right? It's probably a very common challenge, that and just getting everybody on board. Operations, sales, the whole legal team, everybody on board and making sure that whatever you're doing isn't crazy.
I am here with my guest, Amber Pritchard. She's the Director of Marketing Communications at Crust Pizza Co. Amber, great to have you here. Thanks for joining the show.
Excited. Thank you so much.
So is that a Peloton or an Echelon?
That is a Peloton. That was a wedding gift. Love
Not
it.
A COVID gift?
Yes, right. No, I wish. No, but it's funny because I work from home. And so I leave my desk and I literally just hop right on. Just have to step 2 feet.
That's awesome. Let's kick things off. What I want you to share, if you're okay with it, is just give us a bit of a understanding of your journey as a marketer and marketing leader. Where did it start and what brought you to Crust today?
It's my resume. Anytime I tell people what my previous jobs were and where I am today, they find it crazy. So went to school for journalism and communication and marketing. Was right out of college, I went into the news industry. I was a news reporter for about 3 years, was in 2 different markets in the Texas area. Quickly realized that 2 a.m., 3 o'clock morning shift was not my thing. So ended up pursuing my career in sales and marketing. So I've been in the marketing industry for about 6-7 years now. Always been with quick service restaurants or in the restaurant industry with marketing, but marketing is such a versatile tool that even though I've been in the marketing industry for the restaurants, you can pretty much do anything that you're doing in this industry, in any other industry, tech, gaming, business, anything. So got my first gig at a Wendy's franchise and absolutely loved it, fell in love with the brand. Didn't realize how crazy the quick service restaurant or the QSR industry is, but it is nonstop. I felt like I was still in the news reporting world. That's how I pretty much started. And then now marketing director for a pizza company called Crust. It's based out of the Houston area and we're growing to 36 locations. So have a cool job. I'm not going to lie. I love it. Get to create some great promotions, brand awareness, and the ins and outs of marketing as a whole. So,
I was gonna ask you that. What is the most enjoyable part of your career, of your job right now? Is it franchisee relationships? Is it building a team? What's the most enjoyable part?
So I would probably have to say, one, coming up with great promotions and seeing those really just come to life. Seeing that big ROI, which is awesome. And then the franchisee relationships, teaching people that may not know much about marketing that just bought into a brand and showing them the ins and outs on how they can make their store successful.
So that's got to be an interesting time when they just buy into the brand. They're kind of looking for guidance, leadership, support, and you get to be a part of sort of helping their dreams come true in some regard, right?
Right. And everyone thinks they're a marketing genius, which I never tell them they're not. But there are a lot of terms, acronyms, and other tools that they may not be aware of. So it's really cool to see what I've built for my company and seeing that in someone who may not have the same marketing brain as me and actually having them do it and become very successful.
Can you be honest and tell us what the most challenging part of your job is.
Ooh, I mean, I feel like anybody in the marketing industry will say budget, right? It's probably a very common challenge, that and just getting everybody on board.
Yeah.
Operations, sales, the whole legal team, everybody on board, and making sure that whatever you're doing isn't crazy. I always love to take risk, but I always do my research too. And
Yeah.
so I always come prepared for any meeting. I make sure that I have all my reports done. Like, this is what this company has done, but this is what we're going to do. We're going to make it better. And so that is definitely the biggest challenge, and making sure that you have the right budget and cutting some things that you wish that you could do. That's just the joys of marketing.
So I'm going to stop on that question for a sec, because this tees up the question that was left for you from my previous guest, Sarah Givinato. And what she asked was, what steps do you take, or what is your mindset or playbook that you employ when there is difficulty in getting buy-in from the rest of the C-suite or from different departments for the marketing strategy, or in your case, maybe franchisees becomes very applicable. So what do you do when you can't get the buy-in, or it's difficult to get the buy-in?
I just reword it in a different way. That's something that I've always been really good at. Each person that you talk to, especially when you're dealing with a franchisee, they are a business person, right? So they have a different mindset than someone that's coming from the marketing department, or left brain, right? So I have always given them as much transparency as I can. With me being working for corporate and then having franchisees, there is a little bit of I guess a border on where I can, or a line that I can pass. And so always being transparent has gotten me not just more respect, but more buy-in from other people too. And there are some times where I'm just like, nope, this is a corporate promotion and we're going to do it. Put your foot down. But majority of the time, I always get feedback from all of our locations after any promotion. And so I use that feedback, have a questionnaire that gets sent out, and I utilize that to make our next promotion, whether it's similar or not, even better. If it's operationally it was challenging for them, then I will do something that is not as challenging on the operation standpoint. We do have one promotion that we like to do, which is Pi Day. Pi 314, March 14. A lot of people think of it like the mathematic way, but we do pizza pie. And one promotion we did, it was in 2023, was $3.14 one topping pizzas. That it did amazing. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of pizzas were made, which also got a lot of backlash on me because of the operations side. You can imagine operations did not like me as much that day, but that brand awareness, it killed it. And so to get people's buy-in for this year's Pi Day, we did something a little different. Buy a large, get their second large pizza for $3.14. So it's a higher ticket average, more ROI. And then also it was easier on our operations and our team that's actually inside the restaurant. So, and the only reason why I did that was because of that, the questionnaire that I give out after every promotion that I do, or any marketing campaign that I do. And I love
like
feedback.
an internal feedback questionnaire.
Internal feedback. I also do a lot of customer feedback questionnaires too. What would they like to see? Because it kind of gets them involved as well. Like a lot of social media campaigns involving that. So any feedback is great. I do have a smaller team, so the more brains, the better. And everybody does have great ideas, but in the end, I do have the end all be all kind of say on what we're doing, but I do try to take everyone's ideas in consideration to make it easier for the entire company.
That's great. I think that sometimes there can be some fear and unwillingness to seek that feedback because you don't know what you're going to hear. But do you get, has that been a part of your recipe for success in previous companies? Is this integration of the marketing? Tell me about how you facilitate that.
Yeah, so like you said, feedback, you're always going to get some negative feedback. Whenever I get 100% positive feedback, I'm like, okay, that is weird. Where's the negative? Where's like the constructive criticism? I wouldn't say negative, more constructive criticism. And I've noticed whenever you don't get people involved, even if they're not in the marketing department, they still want their voices heard. And so that has definitely been a learning curve for me. At first, I used to be like, oh my gosh, they hated this. I can't believe it. Now it's just, that's the way the cookie crumbles. Not everybody is going to like the promotions or the campaigns that we do for each one of their stores. They have different demographics, different areas,
Right.
different clientele. And so with one thing that I do for corporate, it might be really great at one of our location, but it might be so-so at another location.
Right.
So we always take the average of any campaign that we do, and we share that with the rest of our teams,
Right.
just show them how successful it was or not successful. I mean,
Yeah.
not everything that I do is, but that's the joy of marketing. Trying
Totally.
something every time.
What is the mandate placed on the marketing department outside of or other than coming up with LTOs and promotions and that kind of thing? So everything outside of that, how do you
Yeah.
see the mandate?
Right. So lots of public relations stuff, lots of PR, advertising, brand awareness campaigns too, just to get that awareness. That's something that I believe every customer or every company should be doing, is some sort of brand awareness campaign. You don't have to change your whole brand, just bring in more awareness and get those clients or the customers that you may not have targeted in the past. Specifically the newer generations. I just had a call, and it's so important for, as anybody in the marketing industry, yes, to use your old school grassroots marketing, your flyers, your business to business, going to knocking on doors, so to say, but also really diving deep into the digital aspect and hitting your newer clientele, which is your millennials, your Gen Z, Gen Xers too.
Right.
And I had a great conversation about how the gaming world has changed. Even when I was working with Wendy's, the gaming world has really been a target for a lot of big brands, because that is like Twitch, for example, that is the new and improved MySpace.
Totally.
And so you have to try to target those generations as well. But just like besides that, just making sure you're utilizing your partnerships, your vendors, your agencies, and tying them in as with your brand too.
Right.
Any partnerships that you can do, whether it does cost you money or not, majority of the time you won't. It's going to be a trade. That is something that takes a little bit more of a negotiation skill rather than just doing a limited time offer or a promotion. You still have to be able to work your magic, work your way, and talk to these people and negotiate something with your vendors or your agencies to do that will help both of you out in the long run.
I was going to ask you about that. Like, you have experience working with both a combination of internal team members plus external partners, agencies. What approach do you take, or have you taken over your career in facilitating the best possible harmonious relationship, marriage, positive working relation? How does that look for you?
Yeah, so anytime I have, if you can imagine, my inbox is full all the time with vendors, with whether it's tech or food or what products or anything that these companies want us to sell or partner with or use their product for.
Right.
My first question always is, I don't care how much it costs, but what is going to be the mutual partnership? So that is always my first question. What is your end goal for us, and what can we get out besides using your product for when it comes to awareness? And so that has always been, I mean, I think I kind of learned and taught myself to ask that question first after the 50th call. But it's always been a lot more successful conversation. Yes, we will pay you money to do this if we see it's a good fit, but I want to know how we can be partners together.
And why is that important to you? Where did that come from?
I think it's important because instead of just being another number with these vendors, I want to have that relationship with them so I can go to them if we're doing some sort of giveaway. Let's say we have a partnership with Coca-Cola, and I'm talking to the rep. Hey, we have this internal competition with all of our employees. Can y'all donate some swag that we can use? That would be great. So stuff like that really does help. And that way you set the tone from the get-go to say like, hey, this is a partnership. Yes, I am probably one out of like 50 of your vendors or your contacts that you're talking to, but I do want to be a prioritized customer of yours.
Right. That's great. I love that. Because a lot of times, maybe depending on what type of product or service the vendor is offering, but sometimes you just think, well, I just need to get the thing so I can fulfill the thing, but it can be more. It could be more than that. I think what you're saying. So when you have a lean internal marketing team, What are some of the, which you've described to me as being the case, uh, what are some of the ways of working or the challenges or the approaches you've taken in leaning into the leanness, the capacity constraint, but still do meaningful work for the brand, for the franchisees? How do you deal with that constraint?
Yeah, I feel like every job that I've had ever since right out of college, I've always been in a smaller group, right?
Yeah,
Whether I am the head of the department or one of the four of the department. I think anytime I hire anybody or anytime I talk to somebody about joining the team, I'm always like, you have to be able to wear multiple hats. And that's just what marketing does. Marketing ties into tech, it ties into sales, operations, every aspect of a company. And even though we do have the smallest budget, that's okay. We're creative enough to be able to work that budget and make any campaign successful. And so I think, honestly, I know a lot of people get discouraged because I always see memes and videos and stuff on
right.
TikTok and social media saying, like, oh, one man band, I'm here to do it all, social media, pay-per-click, Google SEO, all of this. But honestly, in the next 10 years or so, after being in this industry for so long, I'll be able to be the one in a bigger company, hopefully leading other people and helping them also carry multiple stuff on their plate as well. So I always encourage my team that it's something new and it's a privilege, so to say, to be able to work in an emerging brand that
Right.
has a smaller, leaner team, because you're going to be able to do a lot more than what you would do if you are in a big future 500 brand or whatever.
Yeah.
Even I even do some like tech stuff and some operation stuff, and I know a lot about that. And so I feel like that's going to help me in my future in my career because I can also have that side of any conversation when I'm utilizing any marketing campaigns too.
Right.
And so also kind of I wouldn't butt heads with like operations or the sales department or anything like that, but I can
Right.
also be like, hey, I have this knowledge previously because I've had all these
Totally.
roles in my future or my previous company as well.
So you're saying you could either see it as a constraint, or you can see it as an opportunity, right?
Yes, I always try to be positive with work, and it's funny. My husband will be like, I'm a different person when it comes to work, and when it comes to like after work, I think I'm just so positive with my job and my career, and I always any job that I've had, I give 100% to. So any opportunity or any I guess challenge that I've seen, I've always seen it as a positive impact on what it can help in my future.
Right.
Everything happens for a reason, big believer for that. And not everything is rainbows and butterflies, specifically in marketing. And so I always try to look on the other side, the happier side. But don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, there are some days where I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I choose this career? This is absolutely horrible. But then I see like a customer review or I get an invitation to talk to students or something like that. And that
Yeah.
just turns my day all the way around. And I'm like, okay, this is why I do it.
It's a conscious choice, right?
It is. It is. It's like, why am I torturing myself? I don't know.
When you leave work for the day, whether it be just shutting your computer and walking into the
Walking right
kitchen
here.
or driving home, what do you rely on personally to know whether or not you did a good job that day? That you added
Yeah.
impact that day?
Yeah, like I mentioned, I think yes, of course, words of affirmation is great, but am I going to get it from my CEO and my upper management every day? Absolutely not. When I
Right.
do get it, I'm like, I'm printing this out. I'm going to save this in a folder of bad days so I can look at it later.
Yeah.
I think a good day is feeling exhausted, but in a good way. I don't know if that makes
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
like more energy, exhausted, but you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did all of this today and I have
Right.
all of this planned and now I'm ahead of the game, which never happens, very seldom. And I think that is the time where I'm like, this is a good day. Let me slam my laptop shut and go hop on my Peloton
Right.
and carry on that positive energy.
What would you claim to be your superpower as a marketing leader? I don't want you to have to feel like you got to brag about yourself, but what do you rely on heavily
Yeah,
because you're so confident that it's your strong suit
right.
as a leader?
Yeah, I rely heavily on my positive attitude. I do, in trying to not take everything so personally. But that took me a long time to do.
Okay.
I being in the news agency, I mean, you're all over the TV, you're all over their website and everything, and people comment. That kind of gave me thick skin. I've always had thick skin though.
Yeah.
So I think, but just not taking things personally. And if someone says no about an idea, there's a reason why they say no, and it gives me a reason to kind of go back and figure out, okay, I went this route. Let's try to figure it out, make it better, and go to a different route.
Right.
And we have like quarterly meetings with our entire company. And this past meeting that we had to go around and say something about everybody, like one word description. And all of mine were very positive, bubbly, problem solver, and like all of these great words that I kind of hit there's like a light in my head. And I was like, you know what? I am pretty positive when it comes to situations. And I do remain pretty calm because you have to. I mean, you really do. If there's an issue, a PR issue or whatever it might be that the marketing department has to fix, you have to be calm and you have to be assertive and manage your day-to-day still and that challenge and make sure that it doesn't, I guess, come out in a bad way as well.
Right.
'Cause I'm not the face of the brand, but we're the voice of the brand. Right. So being a positive person, I think definitely has helped me in my career. And it's cool to see that other people also see me like that as well.
Totally. What's an area that you're looking forward to improving as a marketing leader, or that you've identified as requiring growth?
So I would say, I know we have specialists and stuff for this, but I myself have always wanted to learn more how to do Google SEO. Pay-per-click, more the tech side of things. I'm very creative on the art side of things. So when it comes to, I love numbers too, but when it comes to Google SEO, that's a whole different language. I took Spanish in college. I should have taken Google SEO as a language in college. That's something that I've always kind of struggled with. I know what I want. It's just, I want to learn how to do it myself. But I know it takes years and years and classes and it takes experts. That's why Google digital marketing managers and whatnot, they make the big bucks. But that is something that I've always really struggled with is the Google side of things. I know what I want. I just don't know physically how to do it. And I'm a quote unquote strong, independent woman. So it's like, I got to learn this. I just don't have the time right now, unfortunately.
And know enough to be dangerous, or at least to
yes.
Because there's a lot of depth to that, a lot of nooks and crannies within that discipline.
Oh my gosh. Right. Yeah. And then part of me doesn't even want to try it, but then again, I'm like, no, that's a goal of mine. I want to take a few classes so I can really dig deep and do something just in case our digital marketing manager can't too.
Right. What does your team structure look like right now? I forgot to ask about that, but
no problem. So they have me, then I have a social media team. She's great. And then we have an intern as well. Also have digital marketing manager, and he does a lot of like our email marketing, any digital stuff, the stuff that I want to learn more. Yeah. And then we also have a graphics team. And cool. Then me and our tech team kind of work hand in hand with our website and everything else. So about 3 to 6 people total. Yeah. So yeah.
It's a sweet spot.
Right. I'm lucky. 6 is lucky.
Yeah, that's right. No, this is really cool. I love hearing about your perspective, the way you're playing the game. How you can actually be positive and lead through positivity as a way to, get things done, not just woe is me and this is a problem or this is a constraint. Right. And then, we talked a little bit about how to prepare yourself and come to the table so you can get buy-in amongst the organization, really leaning on their feedback and their participation, collaboration, as compared to being afraid of hearing those things. I think that's all really impactful.
If you would have asked me though about 3 years ago, or 4 years ago, I'd be the total opposite. So it definitely took some time to grow into my shoes now, but I'm glad I did.
It's all about growing and evolving or evaporating, right? As a new tradition with the show, I'd like to ask you to leave a question for my next guest. So what are you curious about asking them?
So I'm curious about, I actually had someone ask me this on a different call, but I'm curious on what their favorite job was and why. It doesn't have to be in the marketing industry, but what it was and why they enjoyed that job.
I will ask and I'll get the answer back to you if you don't see it already online. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks for showing us what's next for Crust. When you close your eyes and kind of envision where the brand is going under your marketing leadership, what comes into clarity for you?
So we're really big on growing. We're an emerging brand right now, but we really want to grow and hit that 50 mark here by the next 2 years. And then from there, in the 5 years, we'll have 150, 250 locations where we can franchise out more multi-unit agencies and whatnot as well. So when it comes to growing the company, that is what's going to happen, but also growing the marketing team too.
Yeah.
That's something that I feel like any person you talk to that has a small, leaner team, that's always a big plan for them, is to add more people. But in order to do that, we have to add more revenue and profit. So next step is opening up 10 more locations this year, and then hopefully another 150 in the next 5 years.
That's awesome. Well, I think you're well equipped to lead them through this. So look forward to staying in touch and seeing how the journey goes. Thank you so much, Amber.
Yeah, thank you, Caleb.